One of the goals of the Institute for Humanist Studies is to foster collaboration among the free thought community, which is why I'm really excited about this next segment. A few weeks ago, Margaret Downey visited the Humanist Center here in Albany, New York, and spoke with Matt Cherry, our executive director. Margaret Downey recently succeeded Bobby Kirkhart as president of the Atheist Alliance International. For those of you who follow the goings-on in the free thought movement,
which you could do by listening to the Humanist Network News or by reading the e-zine.
Excellent plug.
Thank you.
If you do that, then you know that some of the atheist and humanist organizations out there have somewhat frosty relationships with each other. I'm not trying to downplay any of these conflicts, but to be honest, from a third-party perspective, it kind of reminds me of sort of sectarian rivalries like Protestant versus Catholic. We have two major atheist organizations based in the United States, the Atheist Alliance International and the American Atheists. They both host their annual conferences on Easter at the same time, which doesn't really foster collaboration because it means you have to choose one or the other. If you're a member of one organization or the other, or actually if you're a member of both, you can't go to both conferences.
And they're usually located on opposite sides of the country.
Yeah, right. So they're definitely impossible. One will be in California, one will be, on the East Coast. So Margaret's going to explain how this situation came about and what she plans to do about it. But I'll give you a little bit of background about the organizations. Madalyn Murray O'Hair founded the American Atheists. And among her accomplishments, O'Hair was the one responsible for having prayer removed from American public schools. But in the early 90s, O'Hair dissolved the local chapters of the American Atheists, and those groups those groups banded together, basically, to form the Atheist Alliance, later the Atheist Alliance International. Here's Matt and Margaret.
The American Atheists stopped doing their conference for a few years on Easter weekend, and the Atheist Alliance picked that particular weekend up to fill the void. Well, then American Atheists got reorganized, and I think Ellen Johnson is a fabulous organizer. I just adore her. We're good friends, and she is conducting American Atheist conferences on that same Easter weekend. Well, I think we've come to a point where we now realize that divided in this way, we will never become a viable mass group, a massive voice that will be heard by everyone if we continue to have conferences that conflict with each other. So American Atheist offers to their membership something very different than what we offer. Mm-hmm. And I would like to make that available, what we offer available to even the American Atheist chapters. So I have proposed in the Atheist Alliance internet conversation that we consider an alternative date, and that the time has come for us to realize that we need to be more united in our efforts to reach other atheists, and changing our date would be a goodwill gesture. So as a democratic organization, I have started the conversation. The conversation will develop into a motion. The motion will be voted upon by our member groups, and we will, as a democratic organization, come to some conclusion, and at that point, we will make the announcement. And personally, as a bridge builder and as a networker, I strongly favor an alternative conference date.
Well, I think it's wonderful that you've started that ball rolling. I can see the difficulty of it, because the way you describe it, both organizations had their own reasons for using that weekend, and they both used it when everyone wasn't holding conferences. So I can see that both organizations may feel a sense of ownership over that weekend, and they never set out to be competing with each other.
Exactly.
So I can see how it's difficult for one group to change weekends, because they all see themselves as somehow backing down or conceding something.
Right.
And you end up in a situation where really both groups are suffering because they're losing conference attendees who have to choose between one or the other.
And speakers, wonderful leaders that have to make a choice as well. So, I want to bring leaders. I would love for Ellen to come to one of our meetings. Ellen Johnson, the president of American Atheists. I would welcome her with open arms to come and speak. And I'm sure she would do the same for me. So, what we need to do is reach out and make sure that all of us are working in unison to fight bigotry against atheists and to continue our work to maintain the wall of separation of church and state. And we can do that better if we're friendly with each other and we have goodwill between each other. And we're so small. It's just such a small group of people that we're talking about. We're talking about maybe, 5,000 people that, can possibly come together on one weekend. And wouldn't that be marvelous to have a banquet one day that's, 3,000 to 5,000 people?
Right.
I mean, the Christian Coalition did it recently.
Yeah.
So,
and the presidential candidates can come and tell us why atheists should vote for them.
Exactly. One of the things that I'm going to do as president of the Atheist Alliance International is to reach out to people such as Buffett and Ted Turner and the people that we know, Bill Gates. We know how they feel about organized religion. Have they ever been approached by an atheist? Could I get that door opened? Could I get funding from them? Could I get them to actually endorse us and, be more in tune with what our goals are?
That would be wonderful.
Yes.
Well, I look forward to hearing of all the developments at the Atheist Alliance with you as president. I assure our listeners that Humanist Network News will publicize all of these developments, and we're always eager to let our listeners know what's going on in the broader free thought movement. Thank you so much for coming to the Humanist Center, Margaret.
Thank you so much, Matt. It was great to see you.
It's always wonderful to see you.